I know that I say it a lot when I say AEW has the best wrestling, has the best pay-per-views of modern wrestling in America. This evening's show in Toronto was probably the second best pay-per-view of the year because I don't think it quite was as good as All In, but man, was it close to that. Let's go over everything that happened at All Out here on Screw the Script. Welcome back, everybody, to Screw the Script. I'm your host, as always, Maverick. Thank you for joining me. Wow, what a show we just saw. We had an electrifying card. It went on about 5 hours, I want to say, but it did not feel like 5 hours at all. And it just was, from start to finish, a fun ride. There was only maybe a small portion of time during the pay-per-view where the crowd kind of felt a little dead, maybe a little tired from the great few matches that we had that opened. So we'll get right into it. I'm bringing back my cans of whoop-ass review metric. I have done this on my channel for every pay-per-view and PLE for WWE. If you're new to my channel recently and have not seen this yet, so basically if you've subscribed within the last 3-4 weeks, you haven't seen this yet. Basically what I do is it's my rating system. A 6 out of 6 cans of whoop-ass is perfect. That's a 6-pack. It rarely happens. And then you have some other ratings beneath it that kind of correlate to the match. You know, 1 out of 6, not a good match. You know, a bad match, an awful match. I have yet to give a 0 out of 6, which is basically a match that is so bad that I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy to watch. Haven't had one of those yet. 2 out of 6 is a below average match. A 3 out of 6 is average. 4 out of 6 is above average. 5 out of 6 is a great match. And 6 out of 6 is a perfect pack. A perfect 6-pack match. Like I said, it rarely happens. I think I've only had it a couple of times on my channel. So let's get right into it. Edge and Christian and FTR kicked off the card tonight. Before the match even started, we saw a hilarious bit backstage with Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. It is so goddamn hard for me to not call him Edge. I did it again. It's really petty of WWE to not be able to allow us to call him Edge in AEW, but you know what? That's just the name of the game with WWE. That's just how they operate. Anyways, back to the match. The match itself proves that Edge and Christian, that Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, whichever names you go with, true to your heart, I'm always going to call them Edge and Christian. They can still go at their age. They're in their 50s, I believe, or very late 40s. And this was a really good opening tag team match. And the highlight, obviously, that everybody's probably talking about is the fact that we saw Beth Copeland, or Beth Phoenix, if you remember her back in the day, in WWE. She made her return. She attacked. I believe she speared Stokely, carried him out of the ring, out of the entire arena, basically. And then a few minutes later, we saw Adam Copeland and Christian Cage pick up the win. Nothing to complain about with this opening match. I mean, it was just fun. They're ageless. We saw another thing that I wanted to point out. Edge, Adam Copeland. We know that he's on WWE. We know that John Cena's having his farewell tour, his final year in pro wrestling. And he paid homage to John Cena by doing the 5-knuckle shuffle. The FU is what I'll always call it, not the fucking attitude adjustment. That's for weenies. It was really, really good. And I stopped for a second while that happened. And you let me know down below if you agree with this statement that I'm about to say. This is not something you would ever see WWE do. Hell, they're not even letting Edge keep the word Edge for his name. You would never see, let's say, for an example, let's say Kenny Omega won't be able to return to wrestling full time anymore because of his diverticulitis. I sure hope that's not the truth, but if that were the case, and he had to cut his career short, and let's say next year, 2026, was his last year of pro wrestling, I doubt you will see what Adam Copeland just did this evening. I doubt you'll see somebody in WWE give a tribute to Kenny Omega the way that we saw happen at All Out this evening. It was a good tribute to John Cena. We obviously know that he will not be able to face John Cena since they aren't in the same company. But again, it's something that really sat with me and resonated within me. After I saw that, my mind just went to that right away. I was like, you know what? WWE would never. I don't see TKO putting over and, respecting somebody from AEW. I just don't see it. Not in the climate right now for pro wrestling. Great match. I'm giving this a 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. An incredible tag match to start off the show, and the crowd loved it. This was probably the only piss break match of the night. My least favorite match of the night. Next, we had Eddie Kingston making his long-awaited return. I think they said it was like 16 months or something like that. And then we saw him take on Big Bill. The match was average. I'm giving it right away a 3 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. Kind of had a weird ending where Eddie Kingston did his spinning back chop, whatever you want to call it. I forget what he calls it. And it looks like it barely grazed Big Bill, but it still gave him the pin and the win. I completely accurately predicted the first 2 matches to a T with the interferences and everything. I saw Brian Keith come out and jump Eddie Kingston. I did not expect Hook to come out to help, so that was a good spotlight moment for the match. But this match, not much else to talk about. It's good to see Eddie Kingston back, but that's a 3 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. MJF versus Mark Briscoe was next. Incredible match. Great for the sickos out there. A tables and tacks match is a staple that I think AEW should have for their hardcore matches. I loved how unique it was, how Briscoe immediately dumped all the tacks out onto the ring. MJF gave him a well, what the fuck sort of look, like I did not mentally prepare for this. I got this match wrong. I thought MJF was going to win. In the end, Mark Briscoe wins. I'm guessing it's to give MJF a little time off, have his honeymoon. I'm a little worried that it may hurt his world title picture. It definitely hurt MJF more to lose this match than if Briscoe would have lost it, but that's just, that's nitpicking. This was a really good match. This was my favorite match of the night thus far. The third match, also a 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. I took a mental note that the match very much reminded me of a modern version of Edge when he was still Edge in WWE versus Mick Foley back at WrestleMania. I want to say it was WrestleMania 22. I could be a year or so off. Very similar styles and everything. Mark Briscoe reminds me of Mick Foley in ways. MJF reminds me of Edge in ways. Young Edge when he was the rated R superstar, heel with Lita and everything. I really felt that during the match. You let me know down below what you think about that comparison. But like I said, really good match, 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. Next, we had the Hurt Syndicate versus the Demand is what they go by. Also, one of my least favorite matches of the night. I wasn't super hyped for this. I love the Hurt Syndicate. We actually saw the Demand pick up a win. I got this wrong as well. Probably the most surprising outcome of the night because I really didn't think that the Hurt Syndicate would not only drop the titles within the last month or so, month and a half, but then also lose their match in their newer feud with the Demand. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 6 cans of whip ass. We'll see where this goes, but that's pretty much all I really had to say on that match. Next, we had Mercedes Moné versus Riho. Not as good as the other women's match, which we'll get to in a few minutes here, but still nonetheless a solid women's title match. I'm giving this a 4 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. Riho is just too small for me. I respect her. I think she is entertaining to watch, but she's literally a whole 5 foot, 100 pounds, if that even. And it's just really hard to kind of get into it when she wrestles. I could be wrong there. You could disagree. That's totally fine. Mercedes does pick up the win. She does retain, which I was expecting that in my prediction that I posted. The Meteora that Mercedes hit on the outside to Riho was flawless. That was the highlight of the match for me. Riho sold it perfectly. The connection of the Meteora was perfect. That was my favorite part of the match. I will say, Mercedes, I truly think that your lung blower that you do, that move, is better than the Moneymaker finisher. I'm not a huge fan of the Moneymaker. That is one other note that I wanted to make quick. Next, we had a insanely good match. Holy shit. This was match of the night for me up until this point. We had the triple threat unified championship match between Takeshita, Okada, and Mascara Dorada. Mascara had a lot of great luchador spots that got the crowd going. The tension that you see building up between Takeshita and Okada was beautiful. This match was near perfect. The Rainmaker counter into the Blue Thunder bomb that Takeshita hit on Okada was a thing of beauty. The double Hurricanrana that Dorada hit off the top turnbuckle to both Okada and Takeshita was insane. Okada does end up coming out on top, picking up a really good win for a unified title defense. Like I said, this was match of the night for me leading up to this match. 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. I was this close to giving it a 6 out of 6. The only reason why I don't give it a 6 out of 6 is because the first 5 or so minutes of the match, it felt a little wonky, it felt a little off, but after that it really picked up and it had an amazing finish. Next we had the Moxley and Darby Allin coffin match. There was an interesting note before the match that we saw that Darby Allin is 0-4 against Moxley in his career, and this was his sixth let me hold up the right amount of fingers there, coffin match of his career. He ends up actually losing to Moxley. Pac makes a return out of nowhere with short hair. I actually kind of like the short hair look and helps Moxley pick up the win. This was a fun match, though. I loved the unique use of customized coffins, as you saw Moxley's coffin and then the coffin that had a Darby Allin design spray painted or painted onto it, whatnot. I like that take. I like that twist. I like that originality from AEW in this match, and it was a lot of fun. The package leading up to match was good. Darby said, if you want to burn AEW to the ground, don't be surprised when I pull you into the fire. A great quote. I love it. There was a really unique upright coffin spot where Darby Allin dove through the middle rope as Jon Moxley was setting up the coffin and turned around and they both just fell backwards. That was a lot of fun. I mean, the match fucking kicked off 30 seconds in with Darby Allin doing a coffin drop from the fans. This match was insane. This whole show was so good, and it just kept getting better and better and better as the night went on. This match gets a 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. I think it's my only second to my favorite coffin match in AEW's era, which was actually the one that I saw live at Quake by the Lake back in Minneapolis, Minnesota 3 years ago. That was, I think, the best coffin match in AEW's history so far. It was Darby Allin versus Brody King. I think this was the second best. It was really, really good. We saw a quick backstage segment that basically is telling us that Orange Cassidy is coming back, so expect to see him this upcoming Wednesday on Dynamite. Toni Storm, her package before the Fatal 4-Way Women's title match is so good. She is the greatest thing in women's pro wrestling today. I've said it so many times on my channel. I sound like a broken fucking record, but it's just the truth. She's really, really talented, and she ends up dropping the title. Now, I picked Jamie Hayter to win. It was Chris Statlander who I was this close to picking. I knew that she wasn't going to keep the title, and I also knew she was going to just go into this with too much on her plate. I did not expect her to eat the pin. Chris Statlander pinning her for the title, very, very shocking to me, surprising. I really thought that it would either be Tekla or Jamie Hayter eating the pin for Statlander and vice versa, depending on who won between those three. A really, really fun match. A lot of good spots. I really, really like Tekla's spider suplex that she does off the top turnbuckle. I think she did it to all three competitors in this match, where she basically puts herself into a tree of woe sort of position, suplexes her opponents off the top turnbuckle, and then kind of hangs there like a spider. And after she did it the third time, she got off of it and then immediately went into her back, the back bend spider crawl that she does. I love her package. She's so unique for this women's division. This was a really, really fun women's title match. 5 out of 6 cans of whoop ass. Chris Statlander is your new AEW Women's Champion. Now, on to the ladder match, which in a minute I'll get to actually what was my favorite moment of the night. The ladder match was really, really good. Spot fest as expected. We had all kinds of tables breaking one after another when they all did that crazy spot where one person was jumping onto another person, and it kind of did it all around the ring. And then you saw Brody King, I believe it was, do some sort of pile driver to Mike Bailey. That was fucking brutal looking. This match had everything that you wanted a ladder match to have. Just a lot of fun, crazy spots. Kevin Knight shined with his athleticism. Brodito is such a good tag team together. They ended up being victorious and retaining the titles. But if that wasn't enough for you, what happened afterwards during the match, it looks like the Young Bucks have got the crowd back in their corner. After they dropped the EVP titles in the storyline, they brought back BTE, which I fucking love. This was one hell of a fun match. And then the ending, I felt like a kid on Christmas again. We saw Jack Perry return, jump the Young Bucks after flicking him off. Clearly he's going back to being a face. The Young Bucks eventually get the upper hand. And then, my favorite part of the night, I swear to God, was this. I was going nuts for this. You see Jack Perry smiling at the Young Bucks, and then the lights go out, and then you see a little video package on screen where he's taking his scapegoat van. He's dragging out a coffin out of the ground, and then you see him in a laboratory, and he's resurrecting Luchasaurus, and holy fucking shit, we've got Jurassic Express back. I went nuts for this. An AEW original tag team finally back together. I know we were teased earlier on about the Acclaimed backstage. I love them too. Jurassic Express has a special place in my heart because, like I said, one of the original AEW tag teams. And then the cherry on top was hearing Jungle Boy's original music hit, the crowd going nuts with the arm waves back and forth. God, that theme song is so damn good. This was the moment of the night for me, a 6 out of 6 moment. I usually don't give ratings on moments, but when you have moments like that, you kind of have to. This was long-awaited return for Jurassic Express, and man, did I eat it up and loved it. Finally, the main event, Fletcher and Hangman went on for, I think, almost 40 minutes. It was a really good, really well-paced main event, and I don't want to jump to conclusions, but this match alone, considering it was almost 40 minutes, is probably going to have nearly half the amount of wrestling combined that WrestlePalooza has. I'm just going to say it now. We'll see how accurate I am. If WrestlePalooza ends up having less than 80 minutes of actual in-ring wrestling, then I was right. This match was really good. Kyle Fletcher's the fucking future of AEW. He has a total package, the nickname, I love his entrance music, his look, everything. He's got proto-star written all over him. He will be an AEW World Heavyweight Champion, just not quite yet, as we saw after a very long match. Back and forth brutality. Kyle Fletcher really takes bumps well. I'm a little concerned about his neck, though, because, man, like that Deadeye that he took off the top rope was a nasty landing to the outside. All sorts of bumps that he took that was just brutal. Hangman hits him with a buckshot lariat to pick up the victory. Just bravo to these two gentlemen for closing out the show with a fucking banger of a main event. One of the best title matches I've seen in a while in AEW. Probably right away a top 5 title match, actually. I'm a little probably biased because I love Kyle Fletcher. Hangman, this was easily his best title defense, not title win. But out of all the title defenses that he had with his original AEW championship run and this short one that he's on right now so far, I think this was his best championship defense match. Overall, this show is going to get a 5 out of 6 cans of whip ass, nearly perfect. It wasn't at the end quite as good as All In, although it had a lot of great returns, a lot of surprising moments, and it was just a blast from start to finish. But 5 out of 6, that is a really, really good score for me. I have yet to honestly give an AEW show less than a 5 out of 6 because they're just so damn good. I'm glad that they had All Out much further than All In this time around, and they packaged it after Forbidden Door. I think that's a smart move, Tony Khan, and I want you to continue that. That's all I had on this episode of Screw the Script. You let me know down below what your favorite matches were, what your favorite moments were of All Out. in Toronto. It was one hell of a fun ride from start to finish. I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm going to get this edited and uploaded for you guys to watch this actually sometime Sunday afternoon. I love this channel. I love watching wrestling, and I love reviewing wrestling and talking about wrestling. Wrestling is my life. It's my favorite passion since I was a child. My late aunt got me into it when I was only 5 years old. Rest in peace to her, and thank you to her for getting me into it, because I don't know what my life would be like without it. I wouldn't have this channel. I want to give a special thanks again to all of you that have subscribed and have watched this. And if you're new here and you're about to subscribe, thank you. As always, this has been Maverick with Screw the Script. Thanks for watching.